Greetings to all my sentient Galaxy, it's the Sentient Man here, so back again with another episode of the MCU Movie Review Series. So today I'm reviewing the fifth movie of Phase 3 of the MCU, that is Thor 3 or Thor Ragnarok. This movie was released in late 2017, I think it was released in October in the UK and November in the USA. I did not really see it at the time in cinemas. I was looking forward for Justice League, the DC movie, and a bit of a comparison of this movie and Justice League. This movie was a hit, Justice League was a miss. And comparisons of directors, the director for Ragnarok was Taika Waititi, I butchered this dude's name. That's the director who directs Thor 3. And the director of Justice League, it was directed by Joss Whedon, who directed the two Avengers movies, Avengers 1 and Age of Ultron. And the comparison of reviews, this movie, Thor Ragnarok, I think it received positive reviews, and Justice League's reviews were a bit mixed, but I think it was leaning towards negative than positive. It has to do with Superman, a lot of CGI. This is 4 years before the Zack Snyder's version of the movie. I saw it. It was way better than Joss Whedon's version of Justice League. Another story for another time. Anyway, so like I said, I did not really see it at the time in cinemas. I saw it months later, in 2018. This was a month after I saw Infinity War. I watched it for the first time, loved it, and then I saw it again on the Disney Plus app. This is the reason why I'm doing this review on this film. Loved it again. This is the best out of the three Thor movies. This movie, Thor Ragnarok, is number 1. Number 2 is the first movie. And number 3, the weakest has to be with Dark World, the last Thor movie from 2013. It wasn't bad, wasn't like fantastic, but it's just a standard superhero movie. Nothing special. The direction of this movie is, you can tell the pace of this movie was in another direction. This is proper sci-fi. I know Thor is sci-fi because Thor's from another planet, Asgard. It's combined with sci-fi and the Viking mythology. But this movie, this is a proper sci-fi movie. It has its Guardians of the Galaxy presence. It kind of worked for this movie. So let's talk about the cast of this movie. We got the original cast from the previous Thor movies and other movies of the MCU. We got Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Anthony Hopkins as Odin. What do we think? We got Mark Ruffalo, who's in this movie as Bruce Banner, the Hulk. We had Ray Stevenson as Volstagg. Zachary Levi as Frandal, Tanabu Asano as Hugon. Fucking hell, those names, man. We had the cameo appearance of Doctor Strange and Black Widow. I will get to those a little bit later on in this review. And I think that's it. I'm talking about the original cast from the previous Thor movies and the MCU movies. And also we got new characters in this movie. So, the villain in this movie is Hela, played by Cate Blanchett. I'll get to her character a little bit shortly. We had Carl Urban as Scourge. We got Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. We got Taika Waititi, who's the director of this movie, also plays Korg. I like that character. I forgot Idris Elba as Heimdall. Sorry. Forgot my word. Yeah, I forgot Idris Elba is in this movie. He plays Heimdall, who's basically the keeper of the Bifrost, it's called. He was in this movie. Anyway, I'm talking about the new characters. You got Cate Blanchett in the movie as Hela. Carl Urban as Scourge, Taika Waititi as Korg, Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master. We got Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. We'll get to her character later on in this review. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, we got Clancy Brown. Fucking hell, Clancy Brown in this movie. I'm a big fan of Clancy Brown. Like him in Lex Luthor in Superman animated series, Justice League, and Justice League animated, I'm talking about Justice League animated series, not the live action one. Yeah, Justice League animated series, and also Justice League Unlimited, and also he plays, his voice of Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm more of a Cartoon Network guy than a Nickelodeon guy. He plays Sutar. He's basically this guy trying to destroy Asgard. So, comparison between Hela and Sutar. Hela's motive is basically ruling Asgard. Sutar just wants to destroy the fucking planet. It has his Ultron presence because Ultron is the same thing. He wants to destroy the planet as well. It's like, holy crap. So yeah, you got Rachel Howells. She plays Topaz. She was not really an important character of this movie. And yeah, I think that's it for the cast. So this is the events after. You could tell it's after Age of Ultron. You could tell some funny humor in this movie. It kind of worked. You can tell in the last movie, Dark World, it's a little bit serious. With Malakath played by Christopher Eccleston. Almost say Helmsworth, but Christopher Eccleston. And the Eartha and Jane Foster. You could tell it's. I think it's a few years after the events of Dark World. And you can tell at this moment of the time, the fucking MCU timeline is so fucked up. I think that Spider-Man Homecoming kind of fucked up the timeline. They announced that it's 8 years later. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. Watch my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. Anyway, so yeah, I'll talk about Thor: Love and Thunder later on in this review. It is a bit of a mini preview. And a little bit of Loki that's not too long soon. Anyway, after the events of Dark World, you can tell at this moment in time Thor and Jane are no longer, boyfriend and girlfriend. There's this one scene because you had Loki and basically Loki and Thor looking out trying to find Odin. They travel to Earth, and then you got two female fans. Wants Thor to have a selfie. They had the selfie. I think one of the girl fans tell Thor, sorry, Jane dumped you, and Thor says, she didn't dump me, I dumped her. And I think that was, at the time, you could tell they pushing away from the love interest in this movie. Thor's moving away from Jane Foster. It's similar to Bruce Banner's moving away from Betty Ross in the events of Incredible Hulk. I think that's not the case right now in Love and Thunder that Jane Foster is coming back. I'll talk about Love and Thunder later on in this review. So yeah, you had a cameo appearance of Doctor Strange. You got the same scene from the post-credit scene of Doctor Strange. You had basically Thor's drinking a pint. Basically Loki went through this magical hole, and then they went into the what's it called? The Spectrum. It's called the New York Spectrum. And then, Thor asking Strange where's Odin, and Strange said he's in Norway. And they keep changing the areas of the room. He's fucking, at this moment of the time, Doctor Strange is now the master of magic. He's moving different rooms after different rooms of the building. It really, Thor says, would you stop doing that? Oh yeah, he also offered him some cup of tea, and, and basically, Thor says, sorry, I don't drink tea. What do you drink? Certainly not tea. And he's drinking a pint of lager, or pint of beer. That was Thor is. He drinks fucking beer. So, and Loki kind of he came back. After Thor kind of falling he said he's been falling for 30 minutes, and he's trying to kill Strange. He said bye bye now. And before that, you had Thor's summing up his hammer, and unfortunately the hammer's turned into an umbrella. Kind of laughed, and after they went to Norway. Odin's death is they did it very well. It's not like he's just died. Just died with his eyes open or his eyes closed. No, he completely disappeared in thin light, and that can introduce Hela. And also, I think Thor kind of blamed Loki for this because he, stripped Odin out of his powers. And that that introduced Hela. So let's talk about Hela for a little bit. So Hela's played by Cate Blanchett. And for me personally, Hela is gotta be she's gotta be the top 5 best villain of the MCU so far. I think she is the first female lead villain in the MCU movie. You had Brandt, who's the kind of like a female henchman in Iron Man 3, but I don't want to get into it. She was kind of bland, but with Hela, she is the first female lead villain in the MCU movie. You know, I think the next female villain of the MCU was Agatha Harkness in WandaVision, and now the latest one was Carly Morgenthau in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But yeah, Kate Blanchett as Hela, she nailed that character pretty well. You know, she appeared in Indiana Jones 4, you know, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was a bad movie, but in this movie, she knocked it out of the park. You know, her motive is ruling Asgard, and also basically also conquering the 9 realms. You know, that you can tell her motive is basically ruling the universe. That's really her motive. I kind of like her character. She's basically indestructible. You know, every time, you know, Thor or even Loki fight, she's too strong. You can see it like in the Asgard fight scene in the third act of the movie. You know, you had basically caught Thor's eye and says, "Oh, you remind me of Dad." Because, you know, Odin had an eye patch. You know, Thor ended up wearing the eye patch in the end of this movie. This is 1 year before Infinity War. Anyway, so she's kind of like this dangerous and also a little bit funny. Not really funny, but you got some funny one-liners. But she's not super serious, but she's kind of like dastardly and dangerous. And also, They killed off Volkstag and Frandau in this movie. You know, after they're trying to get into the Bifrost, the Gateway. They're fighting in the Gateway. They kind of kick both Loki and Thor out of the Gateway, and then Hela's in Asgard kill Volkstag and Frandau. I'll get to a little bit shortly, and also introduce Karl Urban, who's basically the new gatekeeper, because I'm guessing Heimdall is a traitor now. He's high treason. I can't remember. So Karl Urban plays the role of Scourge. He was kind of like mad to me. You know, he's just all Hela's lackey. You know, and there's one funny scene like Hela says, you know, tell me about yourself, Scourge. He's about to talk about his parents, and then Hela says, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop you there." And Scourge says, "I want to prove myself." And Hela made Scourge's executioner, given him the war axe. And it's one scene like the sword, because the sword can actually, it's the gateway between different universe or different planets and Asgard. And there's you had Hela wants Scourge to execute a woman. Scourge couldn't do it. He's a bit hesitated. And this is really dumb. It's a lack of character development of Scourge. He's appeared for one movie, and then he was kind of like helping Hela. You know, you had the undead army of Helas, you know, fighting the Asgardians, and also he also on the ship. And he's kind of betraying Hela. It's basically a random face turn, if you put that in pro wrestling terms. It's basically a face turn second of a face turn. He's basically shooting down the dead army, trying to stop Hela. He got killed. You know, Hela kind of throws a sword towards his chest. So I said to myself, why the fuck you teaming up? Why are you helping Hela in the first place? I don't get it. It'd be better off. I'd rather Scourge get killed off by someone else. I think Heimdall makes sense because they're both former gatekeepers. It makes proper sense, but what it is. Anyway, back to Volkstag and Frandau. Yeah, they got killed off. And by the way, there's no Sif in this movie. Sif played by Jamie Alexander. I think she was doing a different project at the time. Yeah, they killed Volkstag and Frandau, played by Ray Stevenson and Zachary Levi. With Zachary Levi, he ended up becoming Shazam in 2 years' time. So, you know, he's jumped ship from one universe to another universe. You know, he left the MCU, he ended up joining the DC Extended Universe as Shazam 2 years later. So, it's the way to establish Hela as the villain. You don't want to mess with that person. And also she wiped out the Asgardian army by herself, and Hogun, who's had more screen time with Hela in this fight scene after she wiped out the army, he got killed by Hela as well. I think he holding like a wrecking ball with a spike on it. Yeah, no, oh yeah, I know it's a mace it's called. So yeah, you never see these characters ever again. So yeah, Loki. Wow, Loki. Loki's a good villain. Actually, he was not really a villain. He was kind of like, he was damn funny. He was kind of like tweener in this movie. He was a tweener in like Dark World. You could tell he's moving away from that villain part of him. He was a villain in Thor 1 and Avengers 1. So he was funny in this movie. With the stuff, he got fall down after he's been falling for 30 minutes. He had the stuff, he had this suggester. And also, Thor keeps throwing stuff at Loki. He was a hologram. He was in, after, let's get back to, was it Sakaar? That's the planet they end up in. And also, Hela destroyed the hammer of Thor. And when there was a picture of Hela holding the hammer with Odin, I'm guessing because Hela's motive is ruin Asgard with an iron fist, and Odin wants to do it in a different direction. So Hela says she got banished, she locked me up like an animal, and she was holding a fucking hammer, and why she broke the hammer, I don't get it. It's just I feel that she doesn't really need the hammer. And I don't know why they broke Thor's hammer, man. That's really, it took away his strength. But I think like it's just what it is. So anyway, back to the Sakaar bit. They landed on this type of garbage part of Sakaar that was good, and then introduced Valkyrie, played by was it Tessa? Yeah, Tessa Thompson. She was good in this movie. I'm glad they never go into another love interest movie in this film because let's have Thor. After he got dumped by Jane Foster, or what is vice versa. Who dumped who first? Sorry, and and Thor end up moving on to Valkyrie. But I mean I heard like in comics that the Valkyrie character is bisexual, but I'd rather make her into a lesbian character. Makes sense, but Valkyrie they're more like friends instead of love interests. I think Valkyrie, she's kind of she kind of like served in the Asgardian army. There was one scene like Loki kind of like read her mind. You see her like companions got killed by Hela and fighting Hela by herself. You can tell Thor later on in one bit in the movie she doesn't want to be part of it because she's trying to move on. She's a scrapper. She's working with the Grandmaster. It's a funny bit. Like you got these I don't know what they are, cannibals beating down Thor. One of them shot like an electric net onto Thor. This is like Thor without the hammer. He was no match, and Valkyrie's drinking. Her drinking was funny. It's a wasted opportunity. Because you got at the time you got Valkyrie's drinks, but in the Netflix series Jessica Jones Jess also drinks as well. It'd be really good if it's a wasted opportunity. I wish they did like a one if they got the rights. You can have like Tessa Thompson and Kristen Richter, Jessica Jones and Valkyrie. They end up doing a drink contest. Who drinks the most? How the fuck they never die of alcohol poisoning? Or they end up drinking. They're gonna end up like George Best. No disrespect, George Best, but anyway, and also the net. She kind of plays like a neck. Electric net thing, electric tag in Thor's neck, and then when he got electrocuted, he got that facial expression. I kind of laughed. With Loki's facial expression when he got the tag around his back. He's about to betray Thor. Said about, he set him up, trying to betray him, and then it's like, oh Loki, and he got electrocuted, and his facial expressions. I kind of laughed, Anyway, so yeah, Valkyrie's kind of like that, she's kind of worked with the Grandmaster, and Thor said, there's one line in the movie says, you're gonna pay. No, I got paid, And also in the second act, she end up teaming up with Thor. I don't know, she's kind of like this heel she was kind of like heel, and then all of a sudden she's a baby face. Valkyrie, she was a badass character. It's not the last time we're gonna see her. I don't know if she appeared in I don't remember. I think she appeared in Infinity War. I don't know. She appeared in Endgames, and she's gonna be in Love and Thunder. So I think she's gonna be with a girlfriend, or probably she's she's bisexual. But you can glad they did the right thing, like not having Thor being in another love interested bit, because we saw it so many times. Because at the time, because you had Tony moving away from Pepper Potts, but that's not the case because Pepper Potts came back in Homecoming, sorry, Home Games. She came back at Homecoming, and then you got Steve and Peggy, but Peggy died, and now the stuff with Thor and Jane Foster, they got dumped, but instead, they're not a couple, but that's not the case in Love and Thunder. You could tell they didn't do they did a mini love interest between Christine and Steve. This is from Doctor Strange, but it'd be too repetitive. But I don't want to get into it. So anyway, yes, and also totally she's you had like still she wants the reason why she wants to clone to Sakatu, wants to drink herself to death, and Thor says the drink might probably kill you, and then Valkyrie says I'm still going to drink anyway. So let's talk about the Grand Master, man. The Grand Master, played by Jeff Goldblum, loved it. I like the funny scene, like Thor's in this chair, and they're going into this machine. It looks like a roller coaster ride. You can hear in the world of imagination. That's from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Sorry, I'm kind of stumbling. So that was funny to hear. In the world of imagination. I like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. One with the Gene Wilder movie, not the Johnny Depp one. That was just like, come on, it's a bit goofy. But and the Thor's screaming. It was you had the words that you're about to meet the Grand Master, and Thor screaming. I kind of laughed. There's some funny moments in this movie. I kind of pop for that. Anyway, so Grand Master end up calling Thor the Lord of Thunder, and he can't even say the word Asgard. He keeps saying, if you want to get back on Asperg or Asplace, he was kind of like this. Charismatic villain. He's not a serious villain. He's kind of like comedy villain. I kind of liked. He's put in the post-credit scene in this movie. He said, "We won the revolution." Keeps calling Thor Lord of Thunder, but he's the God of Thunder. Let's talk about Hulk in this movie. Hulk. Jesus, we haven't saw Hulk since Age of Ultron in 2015, 2 years later. So this movie took place 2 years later after the events of Age of Ultron. I think maybe a year after Civil War. But anyway, so he came back. The fight scene between Thor and Hulk was good, and then you got Thor basically shouting, yes, he's my friend from work. And Thor, remember me? Remember Loki? He's up there. Thor, look who he is. And then he had Loki's face, because the last time, Loki saw Hulk, Hulk basically whacked him like a hammer in Avengers, I kind of laughed. And also, he did the same thing, when, Hulk kind of swinging Thor like a hammer. And then he had Loki with that reaction go, yes! That's how I feel. And then he said to the Grand Master, like, I'm a big fan of sports, It's a reference what Hulk did to Loki. This time he's doing it with Thor. It's like, kind of like it, I kind of liked it. Loki's a good character, he could be the serious villain once, but the next thing he could do the comedy side, I kind of like, glad we got Tom Hiddleston still in the MCU. I thought he got killed off in Infinity War. No, he appeared in the time traveling sequence, because they traveled back in 2012 to get the Tesseract, and then Loki's like got away, and like we're gonna see him in Loki. We got about a few weeks until the Loki show, and can't wait to cover on this channel. So yeah, let's talk about Korg. Korg was a good character in this movie. Korg, played by Taika Waititi. He was kind of like this nice person. There's one scene with Thor. He's preparing for his fight, and he talks about his hammer. And then the Korg says, "You rode a hammer." And Thor says, "No, I didn't ride a hammer. So the hammer rode on your back." Oh my God, the hammer pulled you off. And he said about you and the hammer had this type of relationship. I kind of laughed. And also, when Loki still got electrocuted, he found like this golden bun. And then also in one scene, he's trying to not seduce Valkyrie, yet Thor mocking Valkyrie because he's part of the Asgardian army, and it says, "I want to be part of it because it's for women." I do like women. I like women in a respectful way, not a creepy way. Anyway, so he kind of distracts Valkyrie to get the bun to get off his tag. And also I like the bickering fight scene with Hulk and Thor in the arena scene. Not in the arena scene, but in the room scene. That was a good choreographed fight between Thor and Hulk in the arena. Hulk was chanting Hulk, 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 and then Hulk says, Earth, he said like Earth hates Hulk, but I think the reason why he hates Earth because people see Hulk, talk about planet Earth, people see Earth, basically Earth sees Hulk as a threat, but in another planet in Sakaar, he's a fucking hit, he's praised. But it's funny that in Endgames, there's two fans wants Hulk as, the gift that he wants him, he wants a selfie with the Hulk, and that's the scene from Endgames. They're in a diner. So we'll get to Endgames. We've got a few more episodes. Anyway. So the people, I think sorry, I'm trying to stumble on this. Though they used the Hulk character pretty damn well in this movie and in the other movies as well. I think that I like Mark Ruffalo's version of the Hulk. I'm not a big fan. I was never a big fan of Hulk live action Hulk movies. It didn't do nothing for me. But when I months ago I covered Incredible Hulk 2008. It was fine, nothing special. But I like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. In this movie he's able to talk, has some funny bits. It's like they were fighting. It's like Thor. He's like whining. He calls him a whiny baby. Whining and crying with the baby, and then they're throwing stuff. Don't throw stuff. And say you're a bad friend. You're a bad friend. And when people are gonna call you. They call you the stupid Avenger, and Hulk call you're the tiny Avenger. I kind of like that bickering, the chemistry with Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo. I think that kind of made it work. They spent years together in the MCU. They've been together in the start of the 2010s. Chris Hemsworth's debut year was 2011. Mark Ruffalo's year was in 2012 in Avengers 1. Replacing Edward Norton. So this is a bone picking between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They misused the Hulk. And you saw Hulk a little bit in the beginning of Infinity War fighting Thanos, and then Heimdall kind of put Hulk, sent Hulk back to Earth, and then he's transformed back to Bruce Banner. He was Bruce Banner the whole movie. He's trying to transform to Hulk. He couldn't do it. He was wearing the Hulk Buster suit, and then he's smacking his face, and the Hulk's like no, and then Bruce Banner's like go to hell or screw you, you green asshole. And then the Professor Hulk thing in Endgames, they kind of missed the service of the character. I understand they're trying to involve the character, evolve. They don't want to make the character a one-dimensional guy, but people want to see the Hulk smash. I think that's just a massive disservice. For me, when I see Professor Hulk in Endgame, for me personally, it's a massive disservice, man. It's a disservice. It's a disservice of the character. Because they just want to see Hulk being Hulk. They don't want to see like Bruce Banner thing. And also this one is, yeah, he was Bruce Banner in a little bits of the movie after, there's a funny bit with the Queen Jess. He's trying to fly off to Asgard, and then he's trying to activate the codes, and then say, when he says Thor says access deny, the strongest Avenger, access deny, and also he said what was that mightiest hero, access deny. When he said Point Break, access granted. Point Break is a movie with Keanu Reeves. And also we got the cameo appearance of Scarlett Johansson in video form. He kind of recorded a video after the events of Age of Ultron that made Bruce, Hulk snap out of the Hulk trance. He became Bruce Banner the whole time. And also Mark Ruffalo had some humor in this movie. You had Thor keep saying sun going down, sun's going low. It's like, would you stop saying that? He said like I'm in an alien planet, and Thor says, it's a planet, you've been on a planet once, yeah, one. And Thor says, now you're on two, that's good. And also, they were riding on one of the Grandmaster's spaceship, and, Valkyrie's, fighting outside of the ship, and then Thor says, I need to go help, take the wheel. And, Bruce and Banner says, I don't know how to ride it. You're a scientist, usually want to PhDs it's called, or PMDs? I think it's PhDs. He said because he comparing him to the Hulk in one scene. He said, how many PhDs Hulk has? 0. How many PhDs Banner had? 7. And then he had Thor says, Thor says, what? Usually one of your PhD. And Banner says, none of them is for flying a spaceship. Flying an alien spaceship. I'm trying to get my words out. I kind of laughed when he said that. He wanted because he's not qualified for driving a alien spaceship. yeah, it's like I kind of laughed at that. You're like, use your PhDs. None of them is flying an alien spaceship, and yeah, I'm repeating myself, but anyway. And speaking of the spaceship, they click. Basically Banner click because he's getting shooten down by this Topaz woman, and also Valkyrie says, Thor says, where are the weapons? And Valkyrie says, there aren't any weapons. This is the Grandmaster's orgy ship. And then Thor's one speech after he announced this is an orgy ship, he said, do not touch anything. I kind of laughed. And also Banner click the I think it was this big button, and it says, it's my birthday. It's like you hear that funky music, and then the fireworks and Topaz kind of crash. I kind of laughed. I think that this movie kind of worked. Anyway, Sutar. Okay. By the way, Sif got like I said, Sif was not around in this movie. She appeared in the first Thor movie and the second Thor movie. I think she appeared in not Age of Ultron, Ages of S.H.I.E.L.D. in one of these episodes. I think it was she did a project at the time. She is unable to be in this movie. I think if she was in this movie, I think she's likely get killed off by Hela. I don't think she's gonna survive, man. I don't think so. So, bit of a side note. Sutar is voiced by Clancy Brown. I kind of like Clancy Brown. He's one of my favorite voice actors when I was growing up. Anyway, he's the voice of Sutar, who's basically his motive is destroying Asgard. Uniting his crown with the eternal flames. He's gonna tower like a mountain and jab his sword towards the core of Asgard. He able to do that, because after they're trying to fight Hela, they couldn't do it because he's too strong. They have to go with the backup plan is destroy Asgard. So basically you had Loki dipping Sutar's crown into the eternal fire, able to reborn. Also, they had the dog scene. That's Hela's dog. It's Venice. Yeah, I don't mind the fight scene between Venice and Hulk, but yeah, the dog kind of fall off the waterfall. Anyway, the Sutar was fucking big as a mountain, able to destroy Asgard. Hela did not die. Hela had many times to kill Sutar, jabbing like swords, but she couldn't do it. And you had that facial expression of Hela. And she died. Like I said, Hela's got to be one of the top 5 best villains in the MCU. It's a damn shame. Yeah, it's a really damn shame. We're not gonna see her again. She might be coming back. She might come back in future projects. You know, it's you have to give the money that. Yeah, I think you have to give the money. You know, it's the yeah. You basically have to pay. Give her the offer she cannot refuse. Offer you cannot refuse. The words of the Godfather. You know, I'm trying to get my words out. But anyway, I don't. It might, could I like to see Kate Blanchett coming back in the MCU as Hela, but it's kind of like unlikely because you know she got killed while Sutar destroys Asgard. You know, I don't know. I don't really compare it as Brainiac because Brainiac's one of the smartest creatures. You know, he's basically the smartest aliens of the galaxy. I think Brainiac's the one who destroyed Krypton, Superman's home planet. Anyway, so and also we got this scene with Odin and Thor. You know, and Odin said to Thor, you know, why are you God? Thor, why are you Thor, God of Thunders? You know, this planet, this hammer decides to control your powers. You know, and he also says about Asgard's not a place, it's a people. So you kind of let it happen because superheroes are not meant to, you know, change the world. It's just save the status quo. So anyway, and also they they took Thor's hammer, and also they cut Thor's hair. You know, they had a cameo appearance of Stan Lee cutting Thor's hair, and Thor says, "Shall not cut my beard, or unless you fear the wrath of Thor," and you got that I don't know why it's called, and he's like afraid, like, do not cut my hair. Instead of giving, you know, Stan Lee giving Thor, you know, a bad haircut or going bald, you end up having a nice haircut. You can tell that's a wig. You know, he's always wearing a wig in those early MCU movies in Thor 1, Thor 2, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, and the little bit of this movie, Ragnarok. You know, he always had short hair, Chris Hemsworth. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, that was it. A little bit. Let's talk about a little bit of Thor: Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder is basically, and also some people compare the Grandmaster to the Collector. You know, that'd be a good future cameo. Really a good post-credit scene of a future MCU movie for another time. Maybe they could do it in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or Love and Thunder. We don't know. That's just, who knows. But yeah, the post-credit scene we saw, you know, Loki says, "Is it a good idea to me going back to Earth?" Because I don't think Earth is welcoming Loki, because he's the one who's basically trying to rule Earth with the Chitauri in Avengers. So, and also we got the massive planet ship of Thanos that set up the beginning scene of Infinity War. So, I think that's it. Yeah, Love and Thunder. We got cast coming back for Love and Thunder. We got Jane Foster coming back as Natalie Portman coming back as Jane Foster. I'm trying to say. We got Valkyrie's coming back. Tessa Thompson, Chris Hemsworth. We got the Guardians are coming back for that movie. Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan. No Rocket, no Groot. You know, that played by Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper. They'll be there in Guardians 3. Who knows? We got Christian Bale is gonna be in Love and Thunder. That'll be good. Yeah, they're pushing a female Thor. You know, I'll wait and find out. That movie is coming out. I think it's coming out next year. I think it's supposed to be this year, but instead it's next year. You know, because of the events of the pandemic, for COVID-19 pandemic. So I think that's it. And also speaking of cameo appearances, we got a cameo appearance of Matt Damon, because there's one beginning scene. We had there was a theater scene in Asgard in the first act of the movie. They're reenacting Loki's death, the events of Dark World. You know, you got Matt Damon portraying the role as Loki. You got I thought it was Liam Hemsworth, but it was Luke Hemsworth, because Chris Hemsworth have two brothers. Liam Hemsworth, who's appeared in movies, appeared in Hunger Games movies, appeared in Expendables 2. I think he's in a relationship with Miley Cyrus. And then you got Luke Hemsworth playing the role as Thor. and you got Sam Neill playing the role as Odin in that theater play bit in the film. You know, it was kind of what it is. I kind of like it. You know, the acting was a bit cheesy, just what it is. So, that's a bit of a side note. So yeah, yeah, I think that's it. There's nothing else to talk about in this movie. I think I cover most of the film. Looking forward for the next movie that is Black Panther. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. With Thor Ragnarok, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think out of the whole of the MCU, this is gonna be the top 5 best movies of the MCU. The top 2 is between Infinity War or Endgames. It's back and forth. One day I might do like ranking all the MCU movies for best to worst. But out of Phase 3, this has got to be in the top 3 alongside Infinity War and Endgames. This is really in the top 3. I think like top 4 is like this: Endgames, Infinity War, Black Panther, and Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, 4 stars out of 10. Really good movie, and it's a fun to watch. It's a popcorn entertainment film for, if you watch this. So if you got this on the Disney Plus app, I suggest you watching Thor Ragnarok. So yeah, I'm gonna end this movie review. So hope you enjoyed my review of Thor Ragnarok. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button. Click the notification bell. Yeah, subscribe to this channel, Central Man Network, on YouTube for more Marvel videos, wrestling videos, and more. Next time, the next episode, I'm reviewing Black Panther, the first movie of 2018. Yeah, 2017 and 2018 is basically the heyday of the MCU. So, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Check you later.